Hey everyone, it's Jen at Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and I'm here to open door number 11 in Stampin' Up's Crafters Advent Box. I have some fun tips to share with you as well, as we've been doing every day of the door opening. Quick reminder, Stampin' Up's Advent Box is available while supplies last. So if you've been hemming and hawing, you may want to consider scooping it up. The best way to scoop it up right now is as part of the starter kit. You can get $125 in product for just $35. For those of you in the US, if you're in a different market, make sure that you check with your demonstrator to find out the dollar value in your market. I know euros, South Pacific, Canadian, of course, different dollar values. But in the US, you could scoop this up and still get a few other fun things for just $35. So, quick review. The box has 12 doors that you can open, whether you decide to have enough willpower to wait for Christmas or simply just want to open it, get it now and start playing with it, and then repurpose the box for 12 gifts for a friend, 12 gifts at Christmas time with candies and treats for loved ones. That's up to you. There's so many ways to enjoy this box. So 12 doors, 12 exclusive gifts that you won't find online and or in a Stampin' Up catalog. In addition to the 12 gifts behind the doors, you do have this 24-piece photopolymer set, great versatile generic greetings, as well as some nice bold stamps. In addition, a review of what we've opened and seen so far, 20 pieces of single-sided designer papers and beautiful fresh prints. And these are, of course, in Stampin' Up colors. I did do a video where I showcased what, in my opinion, were the colors in this paper, so you can go back and see all the past videos. We've seen two different sets of dies. These dies do cut the flowers from the stamp set and then some fun bonus pieces to play with. You do have some shape, rectangles and squares. They do layer with our stylish shapes squares as well as with our perennial postage stamps, and then the smallest one has a little bit of stitched marking on them. We've seen some really fun embellishments. This is the one that we'll focus on today with some tips and tricks for you. Lots of different golds and a little bit of pinks and clears, flowers and hearts and sequins, and as I played with it, I found lots and more good stuff in them. Flat bottom gold gems, and just as a quick note, both of these are equivalent to a full-size embellishment container. So if you were buying a round tin of sequins or loose gems from Stampin' Up, these are equivalent to what you would get in a full-size pack for those of you that are trying to figure out the actual value of the contents. We also had these fun foam gems, and again, these are equivalent to a full-size pack of gems because our gems are always 2 to a pack. So you have 2 different packs of those. We have some ephemera that is gold foiled, kind of in the labels and things that you can add. We've had some rolls of baker's twine, and again, this is very similar to the rolls that you would get, again, for those of you that are trying to put a value on the contents of the kit. Looks to be Misty Moonlight and Flirty Flamingo. There were 4 4x4 stencils along with a brush. I also love that everything's in a nice Ziploc bag so you can keep all of the contents together, whether you put them in one of our clear stamp cases, a clear envelope, kind of like the new ones for our stamp cut and embossed dies and new stamp sets, however it is that you like to store all of the pieces together. And then another one that we saw was 4x3 memory cards with a whole bunch of fun ephemera pieces in it. Again, everything in the box along with the stamp set is designed to be cohesive and to coordinate and work together. But as you've seen with all of the samples that I've been doing for you with each one of the videos, of course, nothing has to be used only together. Of course, one of the great benefits of Stampin' Up products is our color coordination, as well as our cross coordination across our dies and stamps, papers, and things like that. So let's go ahead and let's open up box number 11. It's a tall, skinny one. What do we think it could be, right? For those of you that are wanting to repurpose this, I highly recommend that you don't just rip it open like I've been doing, that you either kind of gently push the perforations and then pull up, or you use your X-Acto knife to dive into it. Oh my God, this is so cool. I would never have guessed this. It looks to be glitter glue. Oh my gosh, have I missed this kind of stuff. I love, 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 love this. I am so excited. We're gonna have so much fun with this tomorrow. Okay, so fun. So one door left, guys, but glitter glue. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun. I've been opening them each day with you, so what you're getting is my enthusiasm. So let's see if we can look at these a little closer, because you've got really cool bits of gold, just a hint of pink. There's a few little bows in there, some circles, some stars, some sequins, little hearts, just kind of a little bit of everything. My first tip when working with loose gems and loose sequins is this embossing powder tray. And I'm going to reference a couple of different products, 3 to be exact here, in this tip section of the video, and I will link everything above in the description of the video. But having that embossing tray makes it so nice to work with. It does have a screw-on cap so that you can simply pour this right out. It is part of the embossing kit, so you're going to get some other fun things with it, an embossing buddy, a little brush, so that you, if anything's staticky, you can brush it and kind of force it down through that nozzle as see, you know, like the static sticks. You're going to have that, and you're going to have a pair of really nice kind of tweezer-like tool. So the embossing tray for me is essential when I'm working with all the loose stuff. And I love that it has about an inch lip on it the whole way around, so it really does contain things. So that is our beautiful loose glitter. So here is the first card. We used the greeting from Birthday Wishes, okay, from the stamp set in the Advent calendar. Then I simply just laid a thick layer of Tombow glue, creating a border. You saw that technique with the gold gems in the video that we did featuring the gold gems. Love the gold twine right now. We have gold and black. We have white with gold and black with gold, and it's in a dual pack. Used one of those ephemera pieces that's with the memory and more, and just kind of a different layout, keeping things up towards the top of that card. Then we have our sweet little onesie. Look at that. She's all decked out. She is ready to sparkle and shine. Got a lot of bling going on. I love this. This is so fun. This is one of the Memories and More cards that's in that Advent box. I just pulled in the cutest onesie, a little bit of gold foil to tie into the gold. And then this paper is from the 6x6 pack of designer papers that are your bold brights. And then just some ribbon. Sweet Girl is the greeting from the cutest onesie. And then one more for you. Brought in our big butterfly die. The word joy, because butterflies, just so much joy, right? This is actually from the holiday ephemera greeting set. But joy on your wedding day. Oh, joy, you know, like you're retiring. That's a big joy, right? Joy, so happy to hear that you're on the mend. Lots of reasons to celebrate joy in our lives. So I want to talk to you for a few minutes about how I achieved the onesie and then how I achieved this look. First, with the onesie, Stampin' Up! Has this double-sided sticky paper, okay, that you can actually die cut through. And both sides peel off so that it will stick. And all I did was pull the sticky part off. I'm not going to actually do it because I don't need another onesie at this moment. But I pulled the sticky part off, and then I just went to work pressing it down inside and just kind of holding it and really getting a good mush in there, just really pressing that in. And then anything that was kind of sticking off the edge, I just used my fingers to kind of push to the inside, okay? So again, I used that flat sheets of adhesive, and I said I was going to link 3 things, but I'll also link this, so there'll be 4 links that you're going to want to look for. But this tape is absolutely amazing to work with. So get a die cut image, and then just press it down into your loose glitters and your loose embellishments and things like that. Use your finger to push it back in to create the shape that you're wanting. So that's how I got all of those to stick to this, okay? For a slightly different look for this one here, with this one, I die cut the butterfly from designer paper and then backed it on color cardstock. What I did then was I literally, because it's such a large piece, could you use this technique too? Yes, I could have, die cut this, but first off, I wanted this underneath of the designer paper. It sounds a little crazy, but why is this just not coming out? Okay, let me just see. Hold on just a second, guys. Let me find something sharp and pointy. See if I can loosen up that. There we go. So then I'm just gonna fill this with glitter. And in my studio, my favorite non-Stampin' Up! Tool when I'm working with adhesive, especially if I'm trying to get it into certain spots, trying to coat a large piece of paper, especially if I'm also trying to spread adhesive real thin behind vellum, is this assortment of silicone brushes. What's really nice is once the adhesive's dry, I can simply just peel the adhesive off and they're nice and clean. But I've got different brushes depending on what size, so I love these silicone. And then all I did was I just spread the adhesive right up to the edge of that cardstock. And we'll come back and we'll do part of it. You don't have to watch me spread the whole thing. But after spreading it around and just making sure that, see how flat I can come in here and get that look that I want. If anything gets up over the edge a little bit, just use your finger. You can peel that off later. I'm from the generation where we let Elmer's glue dry on our fingers and then peeled it up for entertainment in class. Some of you might be from the same generation. And I'm not doing the antennae in this case. So, trying to push it all the way up in. And again, I'm just gonna let that dry. And I can just dump. I could also work with this within the tray if I wanted to. And the other thing that's nice with these silicone brushes is if I didn't get glue enough where I want it, as after this dries, I can come back in and add more adhesive where I want it to be. The nice thing would be to have a second tray. Then I could have one that I work inside of and one that has the pile of things. So, sometimes we need 2 and 3 of things as demonstrators, right? So then you're just going to take something like a scrap piece of cardstock. I just like to continue to really push that down inside of the image. I can pick this up now, shake off any excess, and again, just continue to manipulate it just a little bit, okay? Filling it in where I need a little extra, so I'll come back in here and fill it in, but just that really pretty butterfly look. So one other thing about this card that may not have been real apparent, can you see the shimmer on the cardstock? So one of the things I started doing a few months ago was asking myself, how can I change the back of the cardstock to glimmer it up myself? And my favorite product for making my own DIY sparkle glimmer paper is this Glitter Blast from Krylon. It dries so fast and so quick, and it doesn't scratch off. It does change the texture a little bit for touchy-feely folks, so you've got a little bit of texture change, but it doesn't peel off, and it just gives a nice flat shimmer. So I just wanted that extra shimmer to back this card up. So I've been doing a DIY glitter, and I'll link my video that I did for that too. So this Glitter Blast for me has been amazing, but I've also then expanded into finding other types of sprays, from spray snow to iridescent spray paint. But this goes a long way. The only caution, of course, anytime you're working with spray paint, well-ventilated area. And some of you, if you're sensitive with breathing, you may want to wear a mask or something like that. But I love this Glitter Blast. It's like, oh, gosh, I could buy it by the caseload. So just some fun tips for you with the really fun glitter sequined embellishments that were part of door number 10. So our next video, we will open door 12, our last door. We will look at tips playing around with this glitter glue. I'm assuming it's a glue. We'll find out. Maybe it's just glitter paint. And then we'll do one last video with samples and tips with what we find tomorrow behind door number 12. Thanks, guys.